The power's out. No microwave, no stove. How are you going to feed your family? In this video, you'll get 5 reliable off-grid cooking methods to keep your family fed when disaster strikes. And one of them's so simple you probably already have it, and it just might be your family's key to eating when the grid goes down.
The Ready Life. Into the country.
Hey, I'm Lisa, and welcome to The Ready Life. We've lived off-grid for 25 years and helped thousands of folks gain independence from the systems that control their water, heat, power, and food. Speaking of food, let's start with the most popular off-grid cooking methods. And the last one, you probably have it, and I'll bet you haven't thought of using it this way.
This is our summertime canning stove. When it's too hot to can inside, we'll set this up outside, and you can can a whole bunch of stuff on one tank of propane. And so this could also make a great emergency stove for cooking.
This is our ultralight backpacking stove that runs on butane, and it'll work just fine. But something bigger like an old Coleman stove could probably be even better, especially if it runs on propane, which doesn't go bad. Just make sure you stock up on fuel cylinders for whatever stove you plan on using. And remember, if you have to boil your water to purify it, you'll be using a lot more fuel than expected. Dutch ovens are another really excellent tool for cooking and baking off the grid. There's a number of different ways you can use them. Here we're using an open campfire with coals, but you could also use charcoal briquettes or even a grill for a more even temperature. Here we have stew cooking over the fire. We also have a bread that's baking, and then we did some cinnamon rolls, all with the coals just from our fire here.
So the cinnamon rolls are done and I'm going to put on the frosting.
Of course, the ultimate in off-grid cooking is a wood cook stove, where you can not only cook your food on the top and bake it in the oven, but you can also heat your hot water system and heat your home with it too. I know cooking with a wood cook stove might seem a little bit mysterious. Seems like it would be really hard to do, but it's actually not that difficult. We have done it for a couple of years in our life, and we plan on putting a wood cook stove in our upcoming home. But we actually filmed some experts who learned from the Amish and have lived this way for many, many years, cooking with a wood cook stove. And that's in the Ready Life Academy. And I'm going to show you a portion of that now so you can learn how to cook with a wood cook stove.
A lot of women are concerned about cooking in the oven or cooking on the cooktop, but the cooktop is the easiest of the two. And I would advise you to not worry about baking right away when you get your cook stove, but to focus on the cooktop itself. It's very forgiving and it's much easier. I just wanted you to be able to listen and to see that it's very, very similar as if you were cooking on your conventional stoves. The sounds, the temperatures. A lot of ladies ask me, well, how do I regulate the heat when you're cooking? The heat of the cooktop is dictated by the fire that you have in your firebox. If you have an extremely hot fire, common sense tells you, you're going to have an extremely hot cooktop. That's where experience does come in. But you'll learn over time how much of a fire you need to cook, and especially what you're cooking will vary on how much fire you need as well. For instance, my soup at this point doesn't want as hot a fire as my potatoes. So I've got this over on this side. And this is the easiest thing that I can tell you to remember. Over your firebox is high heat. In the middle of your cooktop would be medium high. And the furthest away from your firebox would be the lowest heat. So all this is a little bit experimental with each stove, but over time you're going to find that it will become second nature to you, and it's really not hard at all. Most cook stove ovens can accommodate 4 to even 8 loaves of bread very comfortably. And we go. You can see I have an oven thermometer to help me monitor the oven temperature so I can watch the bread. As I mentioned before, a wood cook stove oven tends to have some hotter sides and warmer sides. So I'm just going to rotate the bread. I'm going to put the bread on the right to the left, and I'm going to turn it around. As you can see, this side is starting to brown more than the other, and so we want it to bake evenly. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to turn it around. We've got some beautifully big bread. And let's check our bread and see how we did. Sure looks done. There we are. That is one big loaf of bread. And may I add, ladies, that don't be discouraged if when you first start baking in your wood cook stove oven that your bread isn't this large, or if it's a little dark brown on one side, maybe even burnt, or even if it's undercooked. It takes experience and time to learn.
You know, this one doesn't get nearly enough attention, and it should. A solar oven uses the sun's rays to cook your food. No fuel, no fire, no smoke. I've used mine to bake granola, small roast, and even muffins. It's surprisingly effective, especially during the sunny months. Now, there's a few things you need to know. First, you need clear, direct sunlight. Cloudy days won't cut it for cooking projects that need a higher temperature. Okay, so that is not lined up, but if I drop it down, that's pretty close. Yep, I just want that sunshine, that spot of sun to cover that little hole. And it's lined up. All right, then the sun reflects off these side panels into here and raises the temperature right here. And you'll want to plan ahead. Solar cooking takes longer than conventional methods, but that's not a deal breaker. Just start your meal earlier in the day. Solar ovens work kind of like slow cookers. You set your dish in, align to the sun, and let nature do the rest. It's quiet, clean, and completely free once you've got the oven. Some models can even get up to 350 or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're concerned about energy storage or fuel limitations, this is a no-brainer to add to emergency setup. Also, it's a great way to teach your kids about energy independence. My only regret is that we don't use it more often. All right, let's get these muffins out. Ooh, it's definitely done, and even turning a little golden brown. Look at that. Number 5 is cooking with your grill. Now, I'll be honest, I don't currently have a grill, but I wouldn't be surprised if you do. And if so, it's a solid emergency backup. Grills, whether charcoal or propane, are widely available, and you can cook almost anything, vegetables, meat, even baked goods in a Dutch oven. So if you've got a grill with a lid, you can even create an oven-like environment and do baking. For people who live in suburban areas or can't build a campfire, this is a fantastic option. And just make sure you've got fuel stored, whether it's extra propane tanks or bags of charcoal. And here's a little pro tip. If you're using charcoal, get chimney starter. That way you don't need lighter fluid, which is both toxic and unstable. So these are 5 of our favorite ways to cook when the power goes out. We've used all but one of these ourselves, and I can tell you firsthand, each one has this special time and place. You don't need to have all 5, but you do need at least 1 or 2 solid backup options in place before there's an emergency. And here's the biggest mistake we see. People wait until the grid is down to figure all of this out. Don't be that person. Choose a couple of these methods and get comfortable using them now before you need them. If you want to make sure your family's ready when the lights go out, grab our free 521 preparedness plan. It walks you through the exact steps we take to build self-reliance into everyday life. Just visit thereadylife.com/521 or click on the link below for this life-changing 21-day experience. And hey, check out these videos over here.